Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Spilling Tea. I'm your host, Tiffany Daniels. We're going back to that horrible world known as the JRC, but what we do is the little tea. Once again, idiots came after me. Who's shocked? You know, the kind of idiots that you can tell just are the mean girls who peaked in high school and somehow think that their high school bullying tactics is going to affect anyone that's over the age of 18. Those kind. In particular, they took a screenshot of my face and said, "Boo!" Is this what we're calling intelligent discourse from feminism these days? Because I know this is going to make me sound old, but the hell with it. Back in my day, feminism was about intelligent discourse, where you could hold a debate on your own, where pot shots were taken on other women's appearances, even if you were a female who was arguing for the opposite side. But now, we got a bunch of 12-year-olds thinking they're real warriors, taking screenshot close-ups of profile pics and going, "Boo!" Y'all really don't know who you're dealing with, do you? I don't care. The only thing I actually care about is that you're cluttering up my timeline with stupid. That's pretty much it. You're an inconvenience. Nothing more. I may occasionally despair at how far it seems, if Twitter is to believe, that these folks have fallen to, that we are literally going back to high school and tearing people apart because of looks, and you have nothing to add intellectually to any debate. But, you know, we never really leave high school, do we? And I really think social media has made that 1,000 times worse, because these are individuals who never grow up. They continue bullying on well past high school graduation. They're out there stuck behind their screens instead of going out there and living life, confronting real problems, even confronting their own problems. Social media, it can be a blessing and a curse. The blessing is you get to communicate it so much easier with people from all over the globe. It's a wonderful for sharing ideas and opening discourse. But it's also stunted us. It has driven an entire generation to never grow up, to never get past that high school mentality. It has stunted emotional growth and maturity. It really has. And you can see it as plain as day on Facebook, on, God, even on YouTube, for God's sake. Twitter has always been a cesspool, as is Tumblr, even MySpace back in the day. But we've got an entire generation of folks who weren't raised by even the TV, they were raised by social media. And quite frankly, I can't think of anything more frightening than that. People who have never been taught to go out and live life, to confront real problems, real injustices. Places like the JRC continue with very even a blip on the radar. While these people continue to play the same tired out mean girl they played in high school, and it's a decade past. But that's the end of my rant there. Now to the disclosures, shall we? In the description box, folks, you're going to find a link to the article that the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center doesn't want you to read. It's written by NeuroClastic, a small non-for-profit started by autistics for autistics, wherein they interviewed and surveyed over 900 ABA professionals regards to the JRC's so-called behavior modification program. Matter of fact, the JRC doesn't want you to read this article so much. They've threatened NeuroClastic with a defamation lawsuit if they did not remove it from the website. Well, folks, NeuroClastic has refused, so as you know the drill, please read that article and share it on all your social media. Also included is NeuroClastic's public statement regards to the defamation lawsuit threat, as well as a link to their GoFundMe. We are crowdfunding, folks, in case the JRC actually sees through with their threat. Also included in there, the Ozarks' first article in regards to the Agape boarding school, now known as Stone for Help boarding school situation. I do this because it's insane, folks. It's insane what's going on in these schools. And what's even more insane is just how little media attention it gets. But that's beside the point. This is a so-called Christian-themed boarding school based out of Stockton, Missouri that takes in so-called troubled teens that has and pending, folks, over 21 civil lawsuits, claims, and allegations leveled against it, all which have been substantiated by the Missouri Department of Social Services, and it includes the following: sodomy, rape, sexual assault, child abuse, psychological and emotional abuse, child trafficking, starvation, and that's just for starters. You have one former staff member arrested by the FBI, the other a doctor who still lives on the premises, up on multiple, again, substantiated claims of sodomy, rape, and sexual assault of the boys there. You've got an attorney general too busy chasing and lying about drag queens and chasing after them, as well as trying and failing to defund public libraries to actually do his job. And you've got a governor here that an intervention can't help. And things just keep getting darker and darker and darker for every single one of us who's different, who doesn't have enough to get out of this state. So please send help. Don't forget to share that article on all your social media. Also included in there, the other pertinent links, as usual, to the Stop the Shocks campaign, including Autistic Hoya's massive archive on the subject, Jennifer Masemba's behavioral sheet of shockable offenses, a clip out of the 7-hour ordeal undergone by Andre McCollins back in 2002, and the ever-present self-explanatory Change.org Shut the Judge Rotenberg Center Down petition. When we discuss the JRC, folks, you're going to hear vivid descriptions of and catch clips of surveillance footage of people with disabilities being tortured and abused. If you got young children present, please use your headphones, all right? All right, this channel is marked not for children for a reason. We use profanity and we do speak on dark subjects. If your child is 16 and younger and they are watching this, very obviously parental supervision is very much advised, all right? All right, get your common teeth, folks. Square your shoulders. The stupid is coming. We are about to once more descend into the mad ravings of the lunatic mind known as Dr. Matthew Israel. You're going to hear gaslighting, victim blaming, pseudoscience, and lies, all from a man with a massive ego and even larger God complex. So, folks, prepare yourselves for the mind-numbing amount of stupid we're about to read. To give you context, this is a testimony from a father about how JRC made his daughter happy. I already explained in yesterday's video how often parents really don't know what their kids are getting up to. Especially, to take it back to my rant, when it comes to social media. There's a reason why those 90 parents would always have their computers in the living room where they could watch. Just saying. So take everything you're about to see while I go through this testimony with a grain of salt, all right? A lot of these parents with the JRC also tend to victim blame. They harp and harp and harp on how bad their child is. I don't care if your child is Damien from The Omen. Strapping them up and having them tortured into compliance is not an answer. Okay? Have we established this? Good, because I'm tired of repeating myself. I have a daughter, Nicole, who went to JRC in 2004. She is still at JRC in the adult services, and she was diagnosed with autism and later von Kleffner syndrome. It's a school. Supposedly. You're supposed to graduate and go into transition services out of school. If your kid is still there, is it really a school? Just saying. As the years went by, she got progressively worse. She had a brain surgery to remove the epilepsy, which helped her with receptive language, but her behavior continued to be extremely severe. This is what they do, folks. When I say they victim blame, this is what I'm talking about. In every single parental testimony I have ever read that was in favor of this place, not once, not one single time have I heard a single parent ever say that they took their kid to a specialist to get to the root of the issue that was causing the behaviors. Not once. Not once. Nor has that elephant in the room have ever been addressed by them. Just saying. To the point that she would constantly punch her eyes like this demonstrates constantly. And I used to be a martial arts instructor, and I used to block, and there was no way you could block those punches. Those were hard punches to the eyes. She was doing it about 1,000 times a week. We had the entire room in her bedroom. She lived with us. She still lives with us. We couldn't go anywhere. We couldn't go on vacation. We couldn't. Me. My. I want. You're a parent. You are making your child's disability about you. I've seen that a lot in these testimonials. Now you can sit there and say, but we shouldn't be prisoners in our own home. No, you shouldn't. But you shouldn't be saying these sort of things as a way to justify sending your kid to this place and defending the torture they went through. Now, should you? And they all say it. Me. My life. My wants. What I wanted. What I needed. Are you a parent or not? Being a parent, period, regardless of if your kid has a disability or not, is all about sacrifices. Okay? It's no longer about you anymore. Okay? And I am sick and tired of you all justifying sending your kids to this hellhole and then defending these bastards. by saying, but my life was horrible. It's not about you, Karen. Okay? I don't care if you were not able to go out and have the same life that you had before you had a kid. But what can I say other than welcome to parenthood? Okay? You are literally victim blaming your own child. Your own child. You sit there and you watched what happened to Andre McCollins, and you sit there and justify yourself like this? Yeah. Yeah. I got words for you that I'm not going to say on here, but I think they should be self-explanatory when I say go bleep yourself. At nights, we would hear her banging her head constantly all night long. She would run out, pinching constantly, her face, her body, her breasts, back, and blue. You get the picture. She went to the May Center. She went to the LCDC Center. She went to Lighthouse. She went to Perkins School for the Blind, and she went to the behavioral program, the neurobehavioral program at the May Center. These are all excellent programs with devoted teachers and excellent staff. They couldn't help her because they won't address the issue. Just like you, just like the JRC. That's what these people can't seem to get. Their daughter is not just doing this. Speaking as someone who's had similar behaviors when I was a child, do you think I enjoyed slamming that brush into my head at full force, causing myself to bleed? Do you think that was fun for me? You think I didn't feel the pain? You think I wanted to continue? No, I did not. I couldn't control it because there were deeper psychological issues going on behind those behaviors. The people that I was brought to see to confront these issues as a teenager helped me get to the root of those issues and to work through them. This is what responsible people do. You don't sit there and victim blame they always paint this. They always do this. They paint this horror show of a scenario to justify JRC's treatment. But it still doesn't work when you watch that Andre McCollins video. And let me tell you why, parents. First off, you refuse to address the elephant in the room repeatedly. Number one. Number two, if you watch that video, if you read the New York report, you begin to understand the so-called behaviors these kids are getting punished for aren't behaviors at all. They are not threatening anyone. They are not harming themselves. They are not literally doing anything wrong. No horror story that you paint is going to justify that. No horror story you paint is going to beat the horror story of what we saw in that video. Okay? Just stop. God. Finally, the Boston School District, the ETI, suggested JRC because of some of the progress she had seen from some of the children, and I went to see it. We decided to send her over there, and I refused to allow the DED because it's just so counterintuitive. I love my daughter, so I refused to allow it. And they were fine with it. They allowed me to keep her in the school. They used other methods to try and keep her safe, the restraints, the arm splints, and so forth. Again, here we go again. Still, after all this time, you're not Does nobody have the idea in the back of their head that something is causing this? And you need to work out and find out what that is if you actually want it to stop, or at least bring it to a base level. It's basic logic. But Nicole was not making any progress. When she came home, it was the same story. I agreed after a long time, the hardest day of my life, that I was going to, before Judy Sutton, and asking for them to allow her to use the GED. I told my life, we will give them 1 month. If I don't see immediate progress, she's off it. Here we go again. Again, parents, listen to me. Fear works. It works immediately. And you might see it as a way to justify to yourself, well, it had immediate results. She's not hurting herself anymore. No, but they are hurting her. How do you not understand this? In fact, we're going to pontificate on that before we close out on this video. Any therapy worth its salt does not get immediate results. It requires work. It requires pulling up some deep, dark issues, and even not so dark issues. There is no instant fix. It's trial and error, particularly with sensory issues, I might add. It's finding what works out and what doesn't. And it's not all pleasant. But whereas fear produces immediate results with trauma and burnout to come later, doing it the right way is what gets the long-lasting results. And parents, if you would take the time to think about it, you all know deep down we're right. You want to buy the Kool-Aid because you don't want to wake up into the reality to realize and understand what you've signed your kid up to make your life easier, not ours. We're going to sign off on that, folks. We don't get very many views on this channel. The few that we do tend to get removed from time to time. So please don't forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe, and don't forget to hit the comments. I do appreciate your time. And as always, folks, we here at Spilling Tea do hope you have a good one. Bye-bye, everyone.